Yo, what's up, guys? We're going to go through some bets for today. So we had a good parlay win. This play was given out on Twitter. But without further ado, going to keep this live stream pretty short. It's obviously pretty late at night for most people. So figured we would just go through the market, clear out whatever good bets we can find. And a lot of these plays I've already locked in. So this play's been available forever. West Virginia -2.5. You can see lines overall are moving towards them. So I locked this in. I mean, I got so many plays open. It's going to be crazy weekend. Where is WVU? Here we go. I got a -2.5. So I'm already on this play. You can see West Virginia. The line hasn't really moved on any other books, but Pinnacle, it's known to be one of the sharpest sports books, smartest sports books, however you want to think about it, sharpest bookmakers. They take bets from all around the world. They allow sharp action. They have really big betting limits. So their lines are very accurate compared to other sports books. So if long story short, even though you probably don't use this sports book, it's not legal in the US. It's a really important sports book to track their odds, right? You can see they have West Virginia as a pretty big favorite on the -2.5 spread. But anyways, what we can do is we can just kind of get into some PrizePicks plays. There are some good promos, college football profit boost, parlay boost, stuff like that on Twitter. That already gave out. So I'm not going to dwell on those, but we can start with PrizePicks. Why not? You can see there's a bunch of good plays available. As a matter of fact, we got some good plays available. So why don't we just start here? I mean, there's a fair amount of plays, so why don't we go ahead and we can start right here with Justin Herbert, over 1.5 passing touchdowns. So I guess I got to pull up PrizePicks real quickly, and I guess I got to log in. Well, it's already going to log me in. And again, like PrizePicks strategy, so we want to take him over 1.5 passing touchdowns. This plays, you can see on the fantasy optimizer. I'll get to esports here in a second, but we might as well start out with the NFL. Lines have been pretty crazy in Thursday night football. So if you just go ahead and you look at this game, lines have been all over the place on Trevor Lawrence news. So, Trevor Lawrence, it seemed like he was a bit of a question mark how healthy he was. So you can see lines ripped towards the Saints a couple of days ago. Like 2 days ago, they were all the way down at -170. They were pretty big favorites, but now it kind of seems like Lawrence is healthy. So lines, are kind of moving back towards the Jaguars. It's expected to be a pretty good game, right? Like basically it's a pick'em game, a coin flip game. The Saints are only very small favorites. Trevor Lawrence news, lines ripped towards, the Saints. Now, it's kind of back to even money on both sides. But again, like lineup changes, right? Injuries, like you can see here, Trevor Lawrence questionable, all this stuff. Like it's all baked in to the market, like everything is reflected in sportsbook odds. So many people get hung up. They like looking at like, last 5 games, like whatever. You got to remember like lineups, injuries, weather. You hear a lot of people say, I'm going to take the under because it's going to be snowing in Buffalo. It's like that's already baked into the odds. So that's why it's really important. You want to follow, market data. What odds are sportsbooks putting out? Like no offense, as smart as you are, you probably are. Like you're not going to outsmart and outmodel Pinnacle, which is the most sharpest sports book. They take bets from all around the world. They've been doing this forever. Really good at setting lines, moving lines based on where sharp action is coming in. They know which of their customers are smart, right? Which customers are profitable. So they know like when to move lines in a certain direction. Like, they have better data feeds than you, better models than you, hundreds of employees whose full-time job is to set lines. Like, you're not just going to like, I'm going to create a better model than FanDuel and Pinnacle. It's not going to happen. But anyways, the first pick we want to go with on PrizePicks, talking way too much for midnight, but is Justin Herbert over 1.5 passing touchdowns. So again, PrizePicks strategy is pretty simple. The way that PrizePicks works is a little different than a traditional sports book in that PrizePicks gives you the same payout, right? Any 2-pick entry you create, right? You're always getting a 3x payout. Overs, unders, you freaking go to League of Legends, whatever. You're still getting a 3x payout. So it looks like some of these games may be starting soon. So we got to get a move on. But anyways, PrizePicks has fixed payouts, right? So why does that matter? Well, it's really important because that's, how you kind of think about the strategy for beating them. So essentially on PrizePicks, if you go through the math behind their payouts, what you'll see is to, be profitable on PrizePicks, you have to win your player props, your over-unders, just like Justin Herbert, over 1.5 passing TDs, above 54.25% of the time. So you need a real advantage, right? You got to win your picks 55% of the time. Your over-unders, you got to be able to hit them 55% of the time, only losing 45%, right? You got to win 55, only lose 45. So you need a real advantage, a real edge. So you just look at the sports books. All these sports books have Justin Herbert heavily favored to go over 1.5 passing touchdowns. His over is the more likely outcome, the favored outcome. That's why this pick is winning above 54.25% of the time and is profitable in a PrizePicks entry. And it doesn't matter what sport you're betting on, right? Like this is an NFL pick, but it's the same strategy when you're betting on the NHL. It's the same strategy when you're betting on League of Legends, whatever. Like that's what PrizePicks boils down to, right? They have fixed payouts. What did I just open up? Any 5-pick flex play, you get the same payout. 10x, 2x, 0.4x. So it all just boils down. The entire platform boils down to what percentage of your picks can you win. So all these picks are winning above 54.25% of the time, right? All sports books have Justin Herbert heavily favored to go over 1.5 passing touchdowns. But anyways, what we can do is we can take a look at Cooper Kupp. You can see it's recommending we take his under. And if you look at the rest of the market, again, all these sports books, billion-dollar companies, you want to, put weight into where are they setting their lines. All these books are a data point. DraftKings has the line at 90.5, JockMKT 90, Hot Streak 88.5, BetMGM 90.5. Like, as we're kind of trying to decide, like, is this play on PrizePicks good value? We're looking at all these data points. All these books have his line around 90.5. So it's like, okay, like, that seems like a pretty good play to go with. And again, anything on PrizePicks winning above 54.25% of the time is going to be profitable in a 5 flex. 6 flexes are roughly the same, but it's only 54.21% or something. But they're basically the same, which is why you'll, see me mainly place 5 and 6 pick entries on PrizePicks. Again, these 3-pick entries suck, right? PrizePicks only gives you a 5x payout for 3-pick entries. Underdog Fantasy, on the other hand, what do they give us? 4 3-pick entries, they're giving us a 6x payout, So if you go here, any 3-pick entry, you're getting a 6x payout. So it does matter, like, how many picks you're including in your entry. But anyways, so we can go back here to NFL and let's search for Cooper. And we want to take him under 97.5 receiving yards, right? That play seems decent. None of these picks are in the same game, so we don't have any correlation to worry about. But again, like, the higher profit margin plays obviously, are better. The higher, like it all boils down to win rate. PrizePicks always gives you the same payout. So it all just boils down to what percentage of your picks can you win. So obviously picks with a higher win rate are better. But what kind of sucks about esports is, you just have less data points, not as many books post esports lines. So you can see the first play OddsJam is recommending is Kiaya under 1.5, right? So if you take a look at this play, and this game's about to start, is what you can see is Underdog Fantasy has Kiaya's line at 1. So this game's about to start, right? They got some combo props, but whatever. Like his line, her line is 1 on Underdog Fantasy, 1.5 on PrizePicks. OddsJam's just pointing out discrepancies in the market, nothing complicated. And again, when you're betting on esports, ideally, you can find players on the same team, both to be going under, right? So this is what I'm going to lock in right here. These are positively correlated, taking players on the same team, both to go under. And you'll see, I've been profitable on PrizePicks, so they literally only let me bet $10 on any 5-pick flex or 6-pick flex play I want to go with, which is absolutely insane. But this will be the first play we go with. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. NFL, NHL, League of Legends. And again, like correlation just means in League of Legends, if you go through the historical data, you want to take players on the same team to go the same direction, right? So these players are on the same team, Levi and Kiaya. So we want to take them both to go under. Those would be good picks to go with. It's kind of like in the NFL. Again, PrizePicks has, fixed payouts. Is if we want to take Lamar over in passing yards, it probably makes sense to take, Zay Flowers over in receiving yards because we're getting a 3x payout. Like, why would we take Lamar over and then his main target, his main receiver under when we're getting the same payout, right? It would make no sense. We would, you want to take Lamar over and Zay over. If Lamar has a great game, balls out, throws for 350 yards, then Zay Flowers most likely went over 55.5 yards. So you want to find plays that like pair well together if you're playing things in the same game. So when I can find two plays with value, like we did on the Fantasy Optimizer, 2 plays on GAM Esports under first map, these plays pair well together. If Levi goes under, Kiaya is more likely to go under. Just like if Lamar goes under, Zay Flowers is more likely to go under. If Lamar only throws for 100 yards, Zay Flowers probably didn't go over 55.5 receiving yards. So we got some good plays on PrizePicks. They also have some good touchdown bets. So maybe, you're like, oh, I don't love esports, whatever. But you can see here, dang, this play actually seems really good. They have Cooper Kupp to score a touchdown. So we can make another slip and just kind of make a little bit of a different variation. Again, I only have a $10 max bet size. So bet within, your bankroll or whatever. And then we can go back to these hockey plays. We have Robertson under. And then we have our boy Kirill over 3.5 shots on goal. So we have under and over. So these 4 plays seem good. And again, Cooper Kupp, he's heavily favored to not score a touchdown. You may love Cooper Kupp. I don't know. But again, like I'm just following the data. Like if we look at Travis Etienne, he has scored 2 out of the past 5 games. And that's great to know, but like that's already baked into the market, right? That's going to be baked into the odds sportsbooks are putting out. If he's injured, if his leg kind of hurts, if the coach said he's not going to have as many carries in this game, it's all baked into the market. Any public information is baked into the market. But what was I going to say? So you can see they've dropped a lot of, So you can see Raheem heavily favored to not score a touchdown. What about DeAndre Swift? DeAndre Swift favored to not score a touchdown. So a lot of the value for these plays is under, right? So do they have a lineup? So Tyreek Hill, though, again, like PrizePicks boils down to win rate. What percentage of your picks can you win? So if we look at Tyreek, right, like he's favored to go under to not score a touchdown. Again, I'm not saying I don't like Tyreek Hill to score a touchdown. I know he's having a legendary season, but if you look at the data against the Eagles, he's a slight favorite to go under. But of course, if we were only to have one pick, Tyreek Hill or Cooper Kupp, we'd rather have Tyreek Hill is only like a minus 125 favorite to not score, so a very small favorite. Whereas Cooper Kupp, he's a big favorite to not score. He's, minus 160, minus 155, minus 150 to not score. So this play on Cooper Kupp is better. Long story short. But anyways, there's a lot of value on the unders in general. Like Travis, heavily favored to not score a touchdown tomorrow. That play I'm already on, so we don't, have to keep rebetting it. But, Walker is a play we'd want to avoid, right? Walker's a slight favorite to score, minus 130-ish. But you want to see like minus 150s, minus 155s, heavy favorites to score or to not score. Travis Kelce, there's no value, right? Sportsbooks have the same odds for the over and the under. So when books are giving you the same odds on the over and the under, that means they're saying, hey, Travis Kelce's 50-50 to score or to not score. But that's not what we want, right? We want big favorites to score or to not score. So what about Isaiah Pacheco? Isaiah Pacheco's another pretty big favorite to not score a touchdown. So, I mean, Could go with something like this, right? And then if we want to, we can throw in either Swift or we could throw in Raheem. And this, I'm not sure how this pairs with Justin Herbert. We already have him over 1.5 passing TDs. So maybe we like get rid of this play on Herbert. And, you know, you can kind of think about, so Saquon minus 130. So a little bit of value to not score a touchdown. But, you know, Travis looks like the better play, right? Minus 150. Just following the data. Nothing super complicated here. So something like this. An absolute fade parlay, but again, there's value in every play. I just let the math work itself out. We've hit a couple of these no touchdown plays this season already. Big wins before PrizePicks limited me, huge wins. All these books have Travis heavily favored to not score a touchdown. That seems like a good play to go with. So again, I only get a $10 max bet size, but whatever. Here's an absolute fade parlay. So then we can go back here. And, you know, if we wanted to make an all NFL play, you know, we can get rid of these NHL ones. We got Travis. We got Isaiah Pacheco. So we already have a play for the Miami game, so we don't want to include another. But we could throw in, like, Barkley. And then this is just like, I mean, you know, again, it's just following the data. Nothing super complicated. Of course, like, this is a 5-leg parlay. You know, I'm saying I do like this play. I think this is a good play. But, like, you know, don't ever bet with outside of your bounds, stuff like that. But here we go. We got a nice little 5-pick entry. And, again, you could replace this play on DeAndre Swift with Raheem. It's just kind of up to you. Like, if we look at Swift, honestly, this play on Raheem's probably a little bit better if we just kind of go back here, right? So let's put in him. Then let's get rid of him. And we can go with his under, right? So you can see he's like minus 145 to not score, whereas he's a bit bigger of a favorite. Fliff has him minus 160. Like, all these books have him favored to not score a touchdown. So it's like, okay, like, whatever. We can go with this fade parlay. 5-pick entry, all unders to not score a touchdown. I can guarantee you PrizePicks will get rid of some of these props. Yeah, so anyways, we can go back to Underdog, kind of bounce around. Maybe we can find something halfway decent. Same thing with ParlayPlay. I mean, I recommend having as many of these books as possible. You never know where the value is going to be. ParlayPlay, you know, all these books are, again, like, you just don't know where the value is going to be on a given day. So ParlayPlay is a book I've used for probably like 4 months now. They only have $60 max bet sizes, and I'm up $7,000 in profit. So not every bet's going to win, but when you look at it, you know, over the course of a little bit of time, you know, it adds up pretty quickly. But anyways, here we can go back here. So ParlayPlay actually has this play. We already have Cooper Kupp under 97 on PrizePicks. But if you look at, you know, a lot of discrepancies with these books releasing their NFL lines. So some people will say, like, oh, shouldn't I wait till Sunday to bet? And it's like a lot of the value is going to go away. You know, this line probably won't be available. It'll end up moving. ParlayPlay is not an idiot. They'll move this line by Sunday. So all the other books, you know, Fliff, Pinnacle, Hard Rock, like, you know, we're looking at all these books. Pinnacle has a really sophisticated model. They're taking bets, moving around lines based on where action's coming in. Same thing with Fliff. Same thing with Caesars. Some books are a little sharper, a little smarter than others, but, like, who cares, right? Every book is a data point, and we have literally dozens of data points, all telling us that PrizePicks and Underdog or in ParlayPlay have their line too high. All these books have the line at 90.5. Canadian sports books, whatever, right? There's still a data point telling us, you know, hey, there's value on the under. So we're kind of like thinking, I mean, it sounds crazy, but like we're thinking like an investor, like a hedge fund owner, hunting through the market, looking for value, you know, out of these thousands of lines on Underdog Fantasy, on ParlayPlay, on PrizePicks, right? There's limitless crap you can go with. We're trying to zone in on those few spots, those few plays that actually have an edge, you know, where they're actually screwing up their lines. So next we have Ranger. All right, so obviously in the MLB, things are a little different right now because we're in the playoffs. All these pitchers have lower stat lines. But if we take a look at, just like the Phillies game tomorrow, so if we go over to the Phillies game, again, this platform, they have slightly different payouts than Underdog, but like they have the same payout as PrizePicks for these 3-pick entries, just 5x. But why is this play good? It's like, well, let's look at Fliff, right? Well, they have his line at 2.5, right? So it's like, okay, let's look at FanDuel. So let's go over to FanDuel. Let's see where they have his strikeout line. So again, like FanDuel is a $10 billion company. They're pretty good at setting lines. They have pretty good models. They're taking a lot of bets. You can see they have his line at 3.5, but they have his under super heavily favored, -184. 2.5 versus 3.5 is a big jump in the MLB. I mean, you can see here, one strikeout goes from +150 to +320 for Brandon, right? Like that's a huge jump. So these things really add up long term. And, again, like I never claimed I won every bet on ParlayPlay, but I've won a lot of money long term, at least in terms of ROI, literally just following the data. I never let my emotions, my gut, my whatever get in the way. But anyways, we can look at Diggs. So Diggs is going to be the same thing. All the books have Diggs's line at 84.5. This betting tool is called the Sportsbook Screen. Just kind of shows you where all these books have their line set. Every book has Diggs' line at 84.5-ish. It's like, what is ParlayPlay doing? We're creating our own discounts, our own Taco Tuesday, however you want to think about it. Next play is for the Jaguars game. Under 10.5 tackles plus assists. So why do we like this play? It's like, okay, let's think about the data. All the sports books. So again, like even if you don't use Fliff, still a data point, you want to look at, you want to consider when you're making your bets. You're going to see he's heavily favored to go under, right? ParlayPlay is one of those platforms. They give you the same damn payout. If you take him to go over or under, all the sports books have his under heavily favored. That's the play we want to go with. And it actually pairs very well with this play. Taylor over 3.5, right? So like if Jacksonville has the ball a lot more and Trevor Lawrence is going off, he's driving, right? Then Alontae Taylor is more likely to go over in tackles plus assists. And then Foysade is more likely to go under. I'm pretty sure I pronounced his name wrong. I'll get it right after trying to pay closer attention at the games tomorrow. But anyways, like these plays are probably a little bit of positive correlation, right? Like if the Jags defense is on the field for less and the Saints defense on more, he's more likely to go over, him under. And then what we could do is, well, we need one more pick to go with ideally. So we can refresh this. See if there's anything else, that kind of strikes our eye. The Saints kicker under 1.5 field goals. Could go with that. I mean, again, like you try to take all picks in green, but if you have to take one pick in yellow, it's not really the end of the world. So whatever. Under 1.5 field goals made seems pretty good. Unless they have any TD bets up. We can see like if they're hanging a line on, oh, baby. So they have a line up on Travis Etienne to score a touchdown, but I'm not sure how well that pairs with our current slip. Do they have any more TD lines up? Right, like, because if the Saints defense is on the field longer, then I don't know how well this pairs altogether. So we probably want to remove him, take Marcus May under, Travis Etienne under. These plays pair well together, right? Like Travis Etienne is less likely to score a touchdown if the Saints have possession of the ball longer. And that also means Marcus May is less likely to go over 5.5 tackles plus assists. Like these plays are positively correlated. They pair well together. And then what we can do is we can just again, not always what I'm going to recommend, but we have a play on Diggs to go under as well as Cooper Kupp, is we can just look up Josh Allen. Is there any value? So you can see there's a touch of value on Josh Allen passing yards. So what we can do is we can just take Josh Allen under in passing yards, which pairs really well with Cooper Kupp, right? So again, there's not a ton of value, only 3 yards. But that's an option, or Stafford, but it doesn't even look like really any books have lines up yet for Stafford. ParlayPlay doesn't. So now we have some nice positive correlation, right? We have Diggs under and Josh Allen under, which obviously those plays make a lot of sense to pair together. And then we have a $2,400 payout. So we'll go ahead, we'll lock that in. And then we can go back here. And we can head over to Underdog Fantasy. So I just kind of bounce around from tool to tool. I'll check out the arbitrage tool. Again, arbitrage is when these books get so out of sync, when their lines get so messed up from one another, that you can place a bet on 2 sports books, in this case, Fliff and FanDuel, and make a risk-free profit. So this play, I mean, there's just nothing enticing right now. There were some really good arbitrage bets earlier on Fliff that I locked in, but 0.51%. This game isn't until Saturday. I make a risk-free $2. Not really worth the time. I mean, I'm not saying it's bad. Fliff has a max bet size of $250. So this tells me, hey, hedge on FanDuel, and you'll make a risk-free $1.89. It's kind of I'm good. So I just kind of bounce around from platform to platform, see where there's value. We got down some good picks on ParlayPlay. Now we can bounce back to Underdog Fantasy. Damn. Oh, baby. So these plays pair actually very well together. Although Showmaker and Broken Blade. So we can take a look at these. Showmaker. And then we have Broken Blade. So you can see PrizePicks has both these lines a full point higher. And again, in League of Legends, long story short, you want to take players on opposing teams. We already talked about players on the same team, but players on opposing teams, it's positively correlated to take 1 over and 1 under. Although it looks like they may have removed that line. I'll have to refresh this. Let's see here. I don't even see that play anymore. Broken Blade over 3.5. So anyways, you can see here, I mean, there's different picks available that look halfway decent on this platform. So if we look at this play, the Shy, PrizePicks has his line at 2.5. Hot Streak has his line at 2.5. Again, you don't have as many data points when you're betting on esports, not as many books posting lines, but esports is still a great sport to bet on, to middle bet, stuff like that, just because there's so many games, right? Look how many lines are up on Underdog Fantasy. This is only esports. There's thousands of lines up. And all these books are trying to set lines independently, manage their own lines, which is why the market is so fragmented, so inefficient, and why there's a lot of opportunity for people like us. But anyways, there's not a ton of value on Underdog right now, so what we can do is we can kind of bounce over here and we can look at, some other plays. So again, this play I already locked in, minus 120. There's not a ton of good arbitrage bets. Hit a bunch earlier, made some risk-free money. West Virginia, lines are moving towards them. This minus 120 looks good, but I've already bet it for my max. Ohio, minus 16.5. I've already bet for my max. You can see it right here. Where is Ohio? I have so many bets. I don't know. It's somewhere in here. Ohio minus 16.5. So, higher profit margin plays for arbitrage, for everything are obviously better, but already locked in this, already locked in this, already locked in this. Then it's like kind of low profit margins, kind of shit profit margins. So I can increase my max odds a bit. Maybe then there's something, but in general, like pretty dry. Some decent plays on Underdog Fantasy, but some of these plays I've already locked in as well on the previous live stream. So we'll call it a day for now. Hopefully this was helpful. And, again, thanks so much, for your time.